The People Not Titles podcast is brought to you by Land Trust Title Services, your partners for results. Well, hello, this is Steve Kaempf with the People Not Titles podcast. I'm here again with my colleague, cohort, and partner, Matt Lombardi. Matt, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. This is the August 25th edition of the People Not Titles podcast, Matt, and we kick off with Jerome Powell's remarks from Friday.
Last Friday, August 22nd.
Yes.
The world was waiting.
It's like Armageddon when Bruce Willis was ready to blow up the asteroid.
Yes.
And the entire world was watching, and it happened.
It was like Moses parting the Red Seas.
Yes.
People were waiting of what was going to be said because this meeting apparently is very important. Who doesn't love a meeting in Jackson Hole?
We love it.
Apparently the history of it, Paul Volcker, who was in this role years and years ago, it was the only way they can get him to come to a meeting. They had it in Jackson Hole, and for the past 30, 40 years, they've been holding this meeting there.
Okay.
So anyway, when Jerome Powell had prepared remarks, it was very exciting, and people
What did he have to say,
were
Matt?
waiting.
What was the general message?
He gave a subtle,
not
a concrete, but a subtle indication that rates are going to be cut.
And Matt, for a guy who was vehemently denying that rates needed to be cut, for him to go subtle on it is even more than subtle.
So everybody read into it saying, hey man, he and they are open to a potential rate cut. We'll get into what happened after his remarks, but he highlighted sweeping changes in the tax code, trade, and immigration policies and shifting of risk balances. So he's still talking about what's happening, and he's still emphasizing what their mandate is, which is full employment and stable prices.
Matt, so here he's going. I think for him to shift to a new position, he needs to cite something that's changed for him to get to this position, and some might view it as Trump was ahead of him already. He knew that there would be sweeping changes, and so why didn't we lower the rates earlier? So he is going to try to position it that he is going to wait to see what happens before he reduces rates, and I think Trump called him too late.
Too late Powell is what his moniker for him
yeah.
is. You know,
I don't know if it'll stick, Matt.
Yeah, President Trump likes to have some names for everybody, and they, depending on the day, they
low energy. Jeb Bush, that killed him.
Oh yeah, that didn't help things at all.
You know what killed him on that, Matt, was that he was low energy.
Totally low energy. I mean, yes.
Okay, economic outlook, Matt. What does this mean?
So, according from this meeting and the remarks, labor markets are still strong and the economy is resilient.
Ooh.
And I think the biggest takeaway is there's still the unknowns. You know, and
how are the tariffs going to shake out?
Right, until things actually shake out. And so they're cautionary, conservative, if you will, of what's happening. But the risks of rising tariffs, which could put inflation higher, raises stagflation concern.
Matt, what is stagflation? We hear about this.
I'm so happy you asked.
Is it a big deer inflating? Stagflation.
Yes, it could be. It could be in a parade somewhere. Yes, the stagflation balloon. But yes, great question, because I've heard of stagflation and forever.
Yes.
But I don't know what it was.
Right.
So here it is.
You're going to tell us.
Stagflation is an economic situation where three things need to happen at the same time.
Which three things are these, Matt?
Number one, high inflation. Prices of goods and services go up. Number two, slow or stagnant economic growth, which means the economy is not expanding at all. And then three, high unemployment, which is self-explanatory. And it's considered unusual because normally inflation and unemployment don't rise together. So that is the definition of what stagflation is, which we don't want to happen.
We're all smarter now, Matt. What was the market reaction to this, Matt?
Once again, everybody was sitting there waiting for the remarks, and all they had to get was the slight indication that rates were going to lower. And the market jumped actually over 900 points at one time, but the day ended at just over 800 points. The Dow, 800 points, no. Treasury yields went down with the 2-year note dropping at about 3.7%. So that's the way the market reacted. So very positive if you're in the market, Steve, which I know you are. You're a big player.
I'm a big player.
Wheeler dealer, day trader, if I'm not mistaken.
I got it going right in the back room here.
It was a good day for you.
Matt, and we need to know that mortgage rates are tied to the treasuries, the long-term treasury.
The long-term treasury. So that's actually a very good sign. That's the 2 years. The 10-year went down slightly, I think about 3.7, 3.8%. So yes, the long-term rates are going to impact, as we've talked about many episodes, that impacts the mortgage rate.
And Matt, and we have political pressure, right? Trump's putting on there.
As you've said, and we say it seems week over week over week, that yes, it's just continued pressure. And so that's why there's this feeling that September things are going to happen.
Matt,
plus with the shaky job reports that have come out, my take is the numbers from the government, are they going to be legit? Are they not? How does that drive things? So all these things factor in. But yes, I think at the bottom line, things are going to change in September with a lower
Matt, and what are the odds when Powell does lower rates that Trump on that day wears his hat? Trump was right about everything hat, the red hat.
I think he wears that all the time, so I'm not sure that that's a different day. I mean, he's got, if I'm not mistaken, in the Oval Office, he's got his little shelf with all his merchandise
hats
there.
Yeah, merch. The Trump wine.
The Trump merchandise.
Yeah,
but no,
the Trump part
he's got
of the
a
deal
full hat.
book. Yeah.
Anybody that goes into the office, there's like the tchotchkes over there.
Yeah. All right, the merch station where you can buy stuff. Okay, tariffs and inflation uncertainty, Matt.
Yeah,
what's
and we just said this. So, tariffs are fact. Looking at the tariffs, the Fed and Powell and the governors don't know. Like, is this short term? Is this midterm? Is this long term effects of what happens with the tariffs? Prices are what they are, and I think there will be a shaking out once things come to term as we progress. And you've said this for months now. Like, you're saying this isn't going to be a big deal.
Just call me, Matt.
This isn't going to be a big deal. Things are going to happen. But I think there's this precaution from the top that says, let's wait and see, because, prices are for certain things higher than they should be.
Matt, I thought it was interesting that they're doing a policy framework review where they're really reviewing their strategy. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, and so part of this meeting was reviewing what their purpose is and what sort of like a strategic plan, which most organizations do. So the Fed would be no different. And they completed their 5-year review of the strategy, and they've reaffirmed their commitment to the monthly 2%, getting inflation down to 2%, which I feel we've been talking about that for 2 years now, and they have not hit 2% inflation on any month.
Yes, we'll see if that's a realistic number. And what about this flexible average inflation targeting that they approach?
Yeah, so this is, I don't even know what it is. It's something that they said about the targeting of inflation that was initially adopted in 2020, and it's not going to be used forward for the next.
Yeah, so what they're saying, Matt, is that they had a strategy in 2020 to keep inflation at 2%, and it didn't work. So they're revisiting that strategy, right? And anyway.
Yeah, and so the high price of inflation, Powell acknowledges the high pain of high inflation, especially on lower income households. So I think that is true.
What was the closing notes that he had, Matt?
Powell's remarks were cautious, but lean towards, as you just said, flexibility. Markets heard rate cut is likely, which markets jumped, and there is a high probability, which I think we thought and have said, that rate is going to be cut.
Matt, so we have a couple of weeks, right? They're meeting again mid-September to talk about this. And what's your call, Matt? What are you seeing?
I see a rate cut. I don't know the percentage, the basis points, whatever, 0.5.
Yeah.
But I think there will be a rate cut, and I think the timing is right with political headwinds, plus the economy, plus jobs reports, plus all those things that factor in.
So
they could always bring it back up if needed.
Yeah, and so he's setting us up, I think, for a rate cut. He's setting us up for why they're doing it, because he's seeing something different than he saw before. Okay, Matt, let's get into the battle over mandatory NAR membership heads to appeals court. We've talked recently about how NAR has had some big political victories and how these people have attacked NAR, sued them to say, I don't want to be a part of them. I don't want to have to be. And they've won and said, this is not a monopoly. This is not this. This is not that. But now this appeal is rising up and could be a game changer here.
So in July, we reported on 3 separate legal victories for NAR, one in Texas, one in Pennsylvania, and the third, I forget where that, California maybe. And so the initial win was this case is done. You NAR are not a monopoly. The three-way membership agreement is okay. But because we live in the United States, which is a good thing, there is an appeals process. So all three of these have been appealed to the next court up, which is the appeals court. So the one we're talking about is the Texas case, where a broker, Lou Italis, is appealing the July dismissal of her case against NAR state and local associations and the MLS. That lawsuit claims NARs and others engaged in the monopolistic practices by requiring brokers to join the MLS and associations to gain access to the MLS.
Matt, I have a feeling this has the potential for the little guy or gal in this case versus the big guy. And if these cases keep nibbling at the NAR's heels, eventually someone may decide on one way and it could break the dam open.
It's an interesting take, and with people get frustrated by courts and what happens. I won't get into, I was going to use the death penalty as an example, but we won't go there.
Let's not go there.
We're already banned from other platforms.
Absolutely. We've been, shadow banned and all that.
But for this one, I don't know. The appeals process is a good thing, and it gives, like you said, the David and the Goliath story the opportunity to win out in the end.
Okay.
But, many people out there, it's like, well, the decision is made. What do you mean you're going to be appealed? So this could continue to be appealed, and who knows, maybe go to the Supreme Court if they decide to go that far. But these three wins from July are now being appealed, and so more to come.
More to come on that. Okay, Matt, summer sales have hit their slowest pace in 10 years. People are feeling it. The market seems stuck. What are the stats showing?
Yeah, and we're going to go over the monthly stats for July in detail for existing home sales and new home sales nationally, as well as in Chicago marketplace and the state of Wisconsin. But yeah, it's been slow. And you in the real estate profession out there, whether you're an attorney, an agent, a lender, it's been similar to last year.
You got to fight for everything you're getting,
similar to the year before.
Yeah.
And the numbers pan out. So the summer, which is typically the busiest time of the year, everybody is busy. It's pretty much on par with last year, which means it's slow.
Yep.
And so this is a Redfin study, and it's their slowest. Summer sales hit their slowest pace in 10 years. And so homes are sitting longer. In July, the typical home went under contract in 43 days, and that was up from 35 days the year before.
Slowest pace since July of 2015.
So
Matt.
10 years. Okay. It's the slowest pace, and nobody wants that. Sales are cooling. Pending home sales dropped 1% month over month, reaching their lowest level since November 23. Existing home sales, we'll get into details of that. The last three here, Steve, I think are the most important. High cancellation rate. About 58,000 contracts were canceled in July.
Wow.
Do you believe that? 58,000 contracts. Contract in hand, boom.
You think you got the deal, and realtors, attorneys, inspectors, appraisers, everyone gets in motion to act on the contract, and next thing you know, it's canceled. So a lot of work being done and nothing at the end of the pipeline.
Frustration. High frustration levels. And so 58,000 contracts canceled in July, representing just over 15% of all deals. So that's not a good statistic, and I don't like that. And that's the highest since July of 2017. Next point that we want to make is discounts and fewer bidding wars. Homes sold for 1% below asking on average, the largest discount since July 2020, and only, we're going to say 29% sold above asking, the lowest since 2019.
Yeah, and I think it's a great narrative for us to understand. It's not a great narrative, but it's important for us to understand this as agents and as professionals, setting the expectation. People think they're going to be bid up and all this kind of thing. It's not happening. It's happening less now than ever, and so we need to price it right.
And the last bullet point that we're going to talk about is there's mixed market stories. So obviously in some places there are major price reductions, long times on the inventory list.
Hey, thanks for listening to the People, Not Titles podcast. We are brought to you by our great sponsors, Land Trust Title Services, your partners for results.
On the inventory list. And then in other places, prices is right for the home in the area. There are multiple bids being put on it. And here in Illinois, we are still waiting, and it's slowly happening. The inventory is starting to come back, but we in the state and the Chicago marketplace are woefully behind the rest of the nation in terms of inventory compared to 5 years ago.
Matt, I think Powell's actually saying that, hey, we don't move the real estate market that much. I think that's going to be tested as he lowers rates. And then when the rates start to become lower, this market could pop, and all of a sudden he'll realize he has much more sway over the housing market than, even though he sees that's not his role, is to move the housing market. Every now and then, it could be a bone that the housing market needs in order for it to really go.
It's psychological effect.
Psychological.
And people are conditioned to focus on the Fed.
Absolutely.
And what is happening at the highest level
Absolutely.
with the Fed governors and what are the rates going to be. So it's ingrained in society that they are the soothsayers. They
Yes.
they are prophesizing of what is going to happen and what I need to know. So yes, I agree that there is this psychological impact. And when rates come down, there will be a psychological win collectively for real estate professionals and
Mortgage
industry
people.
professionals, as well as home buyers and sellers.
Absolutely. Matt, let's talk. NAR had a leadership summit, highlights from the summit, and it includes the 2026 NAR president-elect, Kevin Brown.
Yeah.
He manages, I think he's second generation in Oakland.
He is.
Yes.
Very good.
Second generation realtor.
His
in the real
brother,
estate.
Bill Brown, was the president 5-6 years ago.
Oh, okay. So
yes,
fantastic.
it's a family affair for
and
sure.
one of the things that Kevin said was that he believes, and I'm with him on this, that home ownership is the key to move people to the next economic level. And I think over time we've heard that is true, and we've experienced that's true.
Yeah, and so the Leadership Summit is an annual gathering that
Do they meet in Jackson Hole, Matt, or no?
They meet I think they meet at the Sheraton,
Okay,
right on
in
the
Chicago?
river. Yeah, in Chicago,
Okay.
right on the river. The Sheraton has the biggest ballroom in the city, so that's
Okay.
So I assume it's still there. But NAR hosts what is known as Leadership Summit, and they also call it, I think, Leadership Week because there's other stuff banked in. But Leadership Summit brings together the president, and if I'm not mistaken, the president-elect of each state and local association of realtors, as well as their highest level staff person and maybe some other staff people, but typically the CEO of those state and local associations. And it's a nice moment where they get together. Here is your incoming leadership, who is going to drive the strategic planning, the business of the associations, make sure the 2 to 3 of you are in lockstep. Here are things they need to know about. So it's a nice event. It brings together everybody from across the country.
A lot of dignitaries here,
And
Matt.
so, as you're saying, Nikea Wright, the current CEO, the president-elect Kevin Brown, they're sort of the hosts of this. Obviously, many other people are involved. But the key takeaways, Steve,
The
do you want to
3 year.
hear? Do you want to hear
I
them, or do you want to share them?
Yeah, the 3-year strategic plan is in the works. What does that entail, Matt?
So the NAR's always got a strategic plan going on, so this is their latest 3-year strategic plan. But that is going to be member-driven and backed up by data, which sounds good, which I think every organization should do.
Absolutely.
And the goal is to reflect the entire real estate ecosystem and address varied member needs. Sounds very...
Sounds like a sound bite, Matt. Sounds like a sound bite.
Sounds like a lot of ask for
And-
1 million plus people, but they could do it.
Yeah, and broker and association engagement is a top priority, Matt.
We
It
talked
sounds
about
like
we talked about this with
platitudes.
the recent hiring over the last few months of Sherry Chris as a consultant and Jared Grasso at a VP or senior VP area, and their priority is to make nice and make new inroads back in with the large broker community, which, as we've discussed and have reported on, we're left high and dry with the NAR settlement, which means there's a lot of negative feelings still from the larger brokerage community against NAR. So that is part of their charge.
Trying to bring everyone back together underneath the tent, Matt. I think I see that as the purpose of the meeting.
Absolutely. And the evolving business to support members' next deal is another high point that they said came out of this meeting. And apparently they're going to try and do interviews, or if they're in the process of doing interviews with over 75,000 realtor members to get and shape new benefits, new tools, strengthen their legal team with trademark protection. We just reported on the new hire with that. And Nikia Wright emphasized, if a benefit isn't truly valuable, it should be replaced with something that is. That seems pretty self-explanatory.
It does.
If you don't need this benefit,
get rid of it. We might think it's a valuable, but if our realtors don't think it's valuable, or if they don't know about it, if they're not using it, rausmit it.
So peeling back the onion of NAR, Dale Stinton, who is a past CEO, well-respected, great guy. Dale, if you're watching, hello. But he had a great point that said, if something went away, would anybody care?
Ooh.
And that's how I read this statement. We, NAR staff or some members, think this benefit is what everybody
Be all,
wants.
end all.
If it went away, would anybody care?
Yeah.
So that's how I read this statement, is really review your member benefits, really focus on those key 5 to 10 things that the members need and want, and get rid of the rest. Trim the fat.
Trim the fat. Matt, we've had comments on our podcast. The comments are rolling in. And the general tone of it, and maybe these are just the dissenters, the people who bellyache, but the comments have been, I feel like I have to, not that I want to. And I think if NAR shifts from, I have to be a part of it, to, I'm glad I'm a part of it, and I think part of that is just understanding the power of the NAR and what they're doing for the industry. And I think the other part of it is realtors actually feeling the benefits and experiencing it. So,
and we reported on that a few months ago,
yes,
where the realtor, I think it was a local survey done here in the Chicago area, like the value that realtors get from their state, local, and national, and it was abysmal.
yes.
I think it was around 60% felt no connectivity, especially to the national level.
Yes.
And their connectivity, if there is any, is to the local level.
So hopefully they were able to achieve this connectivity over this session, and then it extends down to their brokers. Matt, let's talk mortgage snapshot. Where are the rates?
So we're at the month end of August, so we're going to do some wrap-ups for the month, but the current mortgage rates, they went down a little bit more based on Friday's news. And so the average 30-year fixed is about 6.5, 6.6%, and the average 15-year fixed is about 5.6 to 5.8, depending on where you're at. Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad, but it is the psychological effect, I think, of 6%. Consumers out there, if it goes under 6%, or maybe even 6%, I'm listing, I'm buying, I'm ready to jump it. So, yes.
All right, Matt, let's talk about existing home sales. With more inventory, buyers are in a better position to find the right home and negotiate for a better price.
So from the mothership NAR, their research department, number one, existing home sales are still forecasted to be around 4 million through year end.
And that's held pat to their original prediction.
It's not varied much, and it will be on par with last year, and that's unfortunate because at this time last year we were saying that we bottomed out, and
so
the
breakout, we're hovering at the bottom still.
Right,
Matt.
the breakout was going to be this summer.
Matt, and so they were right about one thing and wrong about another, which is we have bottomed out. It has not gone lower, but when will the breakout be? That remains to be seen.
So we're 2% better month over month with existing home sales, and 0.8% better year over year. So essentially, once again, flat.
Yes.
The inventory, there is currently 1.55 million homes for sale, which year over year is just under 16%, and that is the highest since 2020.
That's big.
And there is a 4.6 month supply.
Up a little bit.
Up a little bit from year over year. So last year it was 4 month supply. Now it's 4.6. And the price is higher year over year just by a little bit to $422,400.
So that's over the year, Matt.
This is over the year.
Let's talk about monthly, July.
What do you mean?
July new home sales.
Oh, yeah. So,
yes.
So that's the existing home sales, and I apologize.
No problem, Matt.
So-
I'm moving too fast for you, I think.
I'm a little slow. I'm a little slow.
No, you're at the right pace.
So July new home sales. So this is, we usually don't report on new home sales, but I felt because once again it's month end.
Let's
tell
do it. Let's dive
our
in.
So new home sales, and this is for the U.S., dropped. So July 2025 sales of new single-family homes fell 8.2% year over year and 0.6% month over month to an annual rate of 652,000, which apparently is better than what the economists forecast.
Okay.
But it's still low.
Still low.
Inventories for new homes remain high. 499,000 new homes are for sale in July, a 9.2 month supply, which is up from 16.5% last year.
So, Matt, just to be clear, these are new construction,
New
right?
construction homes.
New construction homes they have 5 months more supply than actually existing homes.
Correct.
So they're well above the average. I don't know how builders feel about that, but they must not feel good because there's a lot of carry cost to having these things sit.
Absolutely. And the median sales price of new homes is down a little bit from June and down 6% year over year to $404,000. The average sales price, so the average sales price is $487,000. The median sales price is $403,000, and that's down year over year. The notable shift is median price of new homes is dipped below the median price of existing homes. A rare sign builders are pushing harder to attract buyers.
Okay,
So more incentives.
Yep.
Story that bubbled up that we're not covering was mortgage buy downs
Yes.
from the which are starting to bite people.
Lennar owns a mortgage
Yep.
company, right? They're offering all kinds of crazy stuff. Okay, Matt, Chicago metro area. Let's talk about that.
Essentially, I'm going to sum it up flat year over year. So closed sales, July. Oh, and by the way, thank you, Illinois Realtors, for providing the stats
Yes,
this
shout
month.
out to them.
Because last month I felt I let our people down.
Yes,
that we
people
did
were
not
waiting
have
at
this
at the radio, waiting for it to come in.
radio with their little quartz radio.
Exactly. A whole family sitting around the fire listening to the radio.
Oh, that's great. July 2025 closed sales just over 9,000, which is almost identical to the year before. Year to date, home sales are up not quite 1%, 52,000. Literally, it's like a snapshot of last summer this time.
Matt, I
So
feel like
for
it's a market ready to burst.
It is a market ready to burst. Median sales price is month over month and year over year a little higher. So year to date, the sales price is just under $370,000. Inventory continues to inch up, but as we mentioned just a little bit ago, we are abysmally need more inventory in the Chicago marketplace in the state of Illinois, because when you compare us to the rest of the country, we are not, there's no foam finger with this. It's a big thumbs down finger.
All right.
That.
What's happening in Wisconsin, Matt?
So Wisconsin, essentially flat as well. So home sales in the month of July total just over 6,800, which is almost identical year over year. I think it's, 23 less this year than last year.
Right.
Listings are up over 7%. So listings in inventory continue to go up.
That's
so
great.
from a buyer's perspective, that's good for you guys.
Yep.
So anyway, statewide listings are up just over 23,000, 7% more year over year. And the home price year over year is up 4.5% to $337,000.
Excellent. And inventory's up from up 7.9%. So just a little bit of a tick of inventory as you covered. Matt, what is up and what has popped are
ready.
the Chicago Cubs.
The Cubs have gone on a nice streak.
3-game sweep. Kyle Tucker is back hitting homers. We beat Kyle Hendricks. God rest his career here in the Cubs uniform.
I was a little worried when I saw he was on the mound yesterday.
I was too.
And he was, at least for the first couple of innings, had these guys on their toes. His little slow ball with a lot of movement.
Yes. And so Cubs did that. Matt, and what I heard is that the Kansas City Chiefs officially ship the Super Bowl trophy over to the Bears once we beat them Friday night.
That's a bold statement. I did not realize that was.
Statement.
I didn't know there was a Super Bowl trophy in transit to Lake Forest.
Matt, I shut it off after watching Caleb Williams, and lo and behold, it was back on as they caught that pass at the end to win a meaningless preseason game.
I told you I was at a family event on Saturday, and someone asked, did I watch the Bears game? I'm like, yeah, they lost. And they said, what? They won the game. And I said, no, they didn't, because I did the same thing. I watched the first half and said, all right, I don't need to see any more.
So we will have our predictions for the Bears as we get closer and closer to the beginning of the season.
So here's an ask, not to put you on the spot. Yeah. What week does Tyson Bagent start?
Oh, Matt. And for who?
Oh,
right.
I like it.
Okay, Pete Carroll, the quarterback, broke his arm and said, I need a starting quarterback.
One final thing.
Yes.
Latest People Not Titles podcast dropped this weekend with local real estate attorney Peter Fitzgerald. It's his second time on the podcast. Great interview, great guy and great attorney.
Yeah, and you know what, Matt, he talks about going from a individual producer to now managing the business. So any of you out there that are shifting and segueing, no matter what business you're in, it's a great interview. And I do want to remind you, Andrew Holmes, CEO of Chicago REIA, we've gotten so much feedback from his interview of his kind of rags to riches story, sleeping in his car, his credit card getting declined, to being an investor with hundreds and hundreds of properties and mentoring dozens and dozens and hundreds of people that have successfully navigated the real estate investment world. Worth a check out.
Yeah.
And
so next week is Labor Day, right?
Next week is Labor Day.
So we may be sorry guys, a little delayed.
Well, yeah,
it's not going to be Monday unless you want to get together. A little barbecue. Little barbecue market trend session.
Maybe
from the grill. Market trends from the grill.
Stay tuned on that. So have a great week, everybody.
Yeah.
That market is going to pop, and you're going to be there waiting for it and helping your customers, and you're going to be able to reap all that you've sown over the last couple of years.
Yep.
Blessings.
Take care.
Hey, thanks for listening to the People Not Titles podcast. We are proudly sponsored by Land Trust Title Services. If you enjoyed the podcast, please hit the like button, please subscribe, and we'd love it if you'd share our podcast with your friends. Thanks a lot.